You're listening to DraftKings Network.
In the NFL, there is no margin for error. One mistake can change the outcome of a game. Science proves quality sleep can help boost reaction time, recovery time, and overall athletic performance. As the official sleep wellness partner of the NFL, Sleep Number's mission is to provide players with data and insights to optimize their sleep for the ultimate competitive edge. Sleep is essential for recovery, and we all have unique needs. That's why Sleep Number smart beds are perfect for couples, with individualized settings for each side. Since 2018, Sleep Number and the NFL have teamed up to bring quality sleep to elite athletes. 8 out of 10 NFL players, including 80% of Kansas City Chiefs players, trust Sleep Number for their best rest. And now, during Sleep Number's biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed, plus special financing for a limited time. Only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, official sleep and wellness partner of the NFL. See store for details.
Now's a good time to remember where the story of tequila started. In 1795, the first tequila distillery was opened by the Cuervo family. And 229 years later, Cuervo is still going strong. Family owned from the start, same family, same land. Now's a good time to enjoy Cuervo, the tequila that invented tequila. Go to Cuervo.com to shop tequila or visit a store near you. Cuervo, now's a good time. Trademarks owned by Becle, SAB the CV. Copyright 2024. Proximo. Jersey City, New Jersey. Please drink responsibly.
Football.
Football.
Football. Football.
Football.
Football. Football.
This is the Dan Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
Today's episode is sponsored by DraftKings. Stay tuned because you'll hear more about DraftKings and all it has to offer throughout the show. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
I'm morally conflicted about all the enthusiasm in America about the sport that is beginning today and is going to engulf Caitlin Clark and take away baseball. And I know everybody's excited. I know America's excited.
Tennis?
Well, just, you know, it's violent real estate acquisition, and the sport is kind of corrupt at its core.
Jesus.
Colin Kaepernick,
How about football?
Kaepernick? Corrupt at its core.
I mean, it is.
Every sport is corrupt at its core.
That's
Everything is corrupt at its core.
Exactly.
Violent real estate.
Well, that's a George Carlin line. I borrowed that.
It is a game of real estate.
That part is true, though.
acquisition.
Yeah,
But it's also
fight for that
game
edge.
of inches.
It's also, so much more violent. I saw that
It's gotten less violent.
It really has.
They have
have?
Guardian caps now.
Those are sick, by the way.
the Chargers have a 300-pound fullback.
What?
That dude rocks.
You still have fullbacks?
Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Do we still have fullbacks?
Alec Ingold would like a word, Roy.
Kyle Juszczyk.
Well, then speak up,
Patrick
Alec Ingold.
Ricard. We've seen tonight.
Juszczyk might be a Hall of Famer. We'll get to that later.
You're not excited for football, Dan?
Well, I'm morally conflicted.
Oh, shut up. No, you're not. Every year with the morally conflicted. And guess what you're going to be talking about tomorrow? You're going to be talking about Ravens-Chiefs.
You feed at the teat of the NFL, my friend. There's no moral conflict there.
You were so morally conflicted in Las Vegas, broadcasting live from the side of the big game.
Damar Hamlin is starting for the Bills.
That's a great achievement. It's incredible.
Their defense has really gone downhill, huh?
Yeah. Can you guys? What?
Too soon. Too soon. Oh,
biggest game of your season.
What the hell's the matter with you?
Biggest game of your season, and you're running a fake punt with the guy that died. Like has enough time passed? Like, what was that call? A fake punt with Damar Hamlin?
Remember when they said they cloned him?
Yeah.
I miss those days.
Yeah?
I miss those days.
Hop in one of my group chats. You won't miss it.
Stugotz declared tonight a must-win game for the Ravens.
Oh, thank God.
Not sure he's wrong.
They got a lot to prove, by the way.
Do they?
Oh,
Ravens, yeah.
Not during not for the next 17
not during
games.
the-
They don't have anything
no.
to prove.
This
They
game
will.
right here.
They will play 17 games without having to prove anything in any of them.
All they have to prove is in the playoffs if their opponent scores more than 13 points. Then Lamar's got a lot of proving to do.
Did you guys see what Gardner Minshew said? Because it made me think of Tony, because I know people love this quote from him. He said, Van Gogh, they told him that he can't be a great painter because he had only one ear. And he said, I can't hear you.
Goat.
That's a direct quote, by the way.
Van Goat. How about that?
It's such a good Minshew quote. But again, the Chargers have a 300-pound fullback. He's 6'4", 300 pounds.
Ginger, too. Yeah. Red is, I don't know what, but he's ginger and he's ready to block somebody in the A-gap.
Red is I don't know what.
Chris, that's got to be your patron saint. You got to get that jersey now.
That's my guy.
Can we rally around him? We have to rally around taking the game back to the 1940s when
I formation, Dano.
You do realize, go do me a favor and look at all the offensive linemen. Do me a favor. On the undefeated 72 Dolphins, I believe Larry Little was the biggest offensive lineman at 270 pounds. I believe the Hall. I think
I've 30 more pounds than your fullback for the Chargers.
I think I've got that right. Look at the undefeated Miami Dolphins of 1970.
265.
That's Larry Little is 265. The
6'1", 265.
That's a dude.
That's just Golick. That's Mike Golick Jr. right now.
Not even. No, Mike Jr. is bigger than that. He's like 6'4", 6'1", 265. That's a regular dude.
So Van Gogh was like the first person to ever block out the noise because he did that to himself. That's a kind of commitment that you want from a quarterback. If Minshew, look, I'll put a future on the Super Bowl right now if Minshew cuts off his own ear.
Let me say this. He only cut off one ear. That means the noise coming from the other side. He definitely
But he could turn it quicker to not hear that.
I don't know.
But they didn't even invent stereo when he did it.
So it's just mono.
Yeah, it was all mono. So he's like, I'm good. The Bluetooth works fine.
I'm not here for Van Gogh talk, man. I care not for some dude who cut his ear off because he was trying to impress a broad. Get out of here. I'm here to talk football.
You are?
Yes. Hand in the dirt. You know what Chris said to me this morning?
Are you still allowed to say broad?
I don't think so.
That's not how you're supposed to speak to a dame, I mean.
Dames? Can I say? It's some cut off his ear for some dame. No. You know what Chris said to me this morning, Dan?
Put it on the poll, Juju. Are you still allowed to say broad?
I guess Dan doesn't care what Chris said to me this morning. That's what I'm gathering.
Let's stay here, though.
Tua said what, Chris?
This is big, Dan. You think he made news with us? Yesterday, he said he has the it factor.
He does?
He said
You can't
Oh,
self-proclaim
shit.
it
And he
factor.
Self-proclaimed it factor?
He said, not only do I have it, I've had it for a long time.
Oh! That is
He's just telling us now. Are you kidding me?
What a ridiculous thing for a person to say about themselves.
No.
Like,
Not ridiculous.
I've never heard that before. I have never heard someone say, I've got the it factor. Whatever it is, I got.
Had it for a while.
Had it for a while.
I got the intangibles.
Since high school, he said.
No, it's not I got the intangibles. That's not the same thing at all. That's a stinky quote. I got the intangibles. It factor is an entirely different thing. That's like almost third-person nickname. Like if you have a nickname and you've assigned it to yourself and then you say some form of, what's a good nickname these days? Give me
the Black Mamba?
Yeah, the Black Mamba. Imagine Kobe Bryant saying the Black Mamba says. You can't declare yourself someone as a haver of an it factor.
I just thought of a great nickname for Tua.
What's that?
He has the it factor. If.
The if factor?
No, he just,
See,
we're going
just
to call
if?
him, his nickname is If.
Yeah,
because IF.
Yeah, I know what you're doing, but you fell into his pit.
Let's go If.
Like the movie?
No? You guys don't like this?
No.
All right.
You're making it the if factor, which is a totally different thing.
I don't want that quarterback.
Actually,
hey, what up, If?
If factor is probably more accurate,
Damn it.
considering his health.
I backed into that one.
Yeah, yes, you did.
Fell into the pit.
If Tua remains healthy
And their O-line's good.
the Dolphins can have a really
And Tyreek's
special
healthy.
season.
You guys can do that. I'm just going to call him If.
Are you guys aware at the thin margin between it and if? The thin margin, the T and the F are awfully close to, and this is dangerous, the L. the L, and now you're in L land with the if factor, and Tua can't say before a season that he's got the it factor when all of us are wondering if he's got the if factor.
Who are the if factor quarterbacks in the NFL?
This is not an indicator of success.
Gardner
There's
Minshew.
been a lot of people that have the it factor. Minshew he's got an it factor about him. Johnny Manziel had an it factor. It doesn't necessarily spell out for success.
Yeah, apparently you have to play football as well, right? Like,
Does Daniel Jones have the if factor? Like if?
No, we know.
Well, let me ask you.
Hold
on. Let me ask you guys a question. It factors. What are the positions in football that even get to dare to declare that they have an it factor? Because none of us are saying a defensive tackle. Not even. We're not saying it.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Aaron Donald has
Aaron Donald.
That's just a talent.
No, he's just great.
No, that's an it factor.
No,
No,
it's
it's
just
That's
great.
not it factor.
No, it's a star quality.
No, it is not a star quality. It's a star skill position quality. We do not give it factors to a player who plays in the trenches.
Cornerback. I was about to say cornerback.
No, but that
we fundamentally disagree on this.
Wait a
Trained
minute.
with knives.
Dan Campbell has an it factor.
That's different. That's coach. That's a different category.
But he was a tight end.
That he didn't have it when he had it as a tight end. He did not have an it factor.
No, what I'm saying is it factor is not an indicator of success. You can have the it factor and be bad.
Tight end is also a skill position.
Wait, what?
Middle linebacker.
Not for Dan Campbell.
LT.
having it.
He got you there.
Big time it factor.
Big time it factor.
If you try to tell me one more time that Aaron Donald did not have the it factor, I'm going to tell him, hey, this guy says you don't have the it factor.
I'll tell you the difference. Like Khalil Mack, no it factor. Just great. Just a great player. But not an it factor.
No
Aaron
sizzle.
Donald, it factor.
Yeah.
Indomitian Sue, it factor.
I don't think that's how you say it.
Disagreed. It's Ndamukong Suh. Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Did Ndamukong Suh have the it factor? You guys are playing this game wrong.
Yeah, I'm with Dan.
He did have that it factor.
Yeah,
Ndamukong Suh
Okay,
absolutely
we can
did.
keep going back and forth with he had it, he didn't have it, or you can, when you say Dion got his it factor not from playing cornerback. He got it from returning things, like generally returning. Patrick Surtain is the highest paid corner in the league.
It factor.
Yeah.
He doesn't have an it factor.
Pat McAfee.
It factor.
A punter?
He's a punter.
Okay, wait a minute.
Oh, no. I'm silly.
No, I'll give it to you. He's got it as a media personality, didn't have it as a
What are you
punter.
talking about?
No,
he was
agreed.
electric as a punter.
Justin Tucker.
It factor.
That's an it factor
an
kicker. No, I'm
opera
with Roy on
singer.
this.
He's cocky.
He's the only kicker.
star.
Kickers cannot have an it
sings
factor.
opera.
He's the
Sings
only
that
kicker with the it factor.
Janikowski.
He's the
It
only
factor.
one.
Janikowski.
Janikowski
Guy was ripping
Okay,
cigarettes on the
maybe two.
sideline.
That's just
Vinatieri.
like- no.
Vinatieri? Does he-
Vinatieri.
No,
Okay, you know what?
was
Vinatieri's
great.
good.
No,
Vinatieri's good. Yeah,
hold on.
What? No.
He was great, but a lot like Khalil Mack. You can be great, but not have the it factor.
What about
Janikowski
Okay.
did not have the it factor.
First of all-
Janikowski had a big leg.
You say that to a
Fact.
Tallahassee.
He was just a fat kicker. That's all it is.
Tucker has the it factor.
Hold on.
Dude,
I got
you
you.
might be too young to remember
I got-
Janikowski.
I got the name for you. Vinatieri, no it factor, just great. Automatic Aldo, Del Greco. It factor. That guy had it factor.
Put it on the poll. Did Al Del Greco have the it factor? That's appalling to me.
guys have
No
lost
one
the
here
plot.
knows what the it factor is.
Did you watch those all his teams?
You don't know what the it factor is. If you say that Aaron Donald doesn't have it, if
Take
that guy,
it back.
If that guy
Take it
doesn't
back
have
that
it,
I don't know what
no
the
one
it
does.
factor is.
If
You
Aaron
think
Donald
I don't
doesn't
know
have
what
it-
the it factor is?
Clearly.
I've been calling games in this town for 30 years. Well, give me some pills to shake. But it is human cockfighting.
Hey, it's Roy from the Dan Le Batard Show, and did you know that there's one phase of sleep that almost everyone fails to get enough of? This phase is crucial. It's responsible for your body's daily rejuvenation. It controls hunger, weight loss, hormones, it boosts energy, and so much more. I'm talking about deep sleep. Like many of us, I struggle with sleep, and I know Juju and Cynthia from Mystery Crate do as well. Every night, it's the same thing. The longer it takes to fall asleep, the more stress I get, knowing I'll be exhausted the next day. And one major reason people miss out on deep sleep is magnesium deficiency. Over 80% of us are lacking it. Magnesium increases GABA, promoting relaxation at the cellular level, and helps regulate your body's stress response system. That's why I recommend Magnesium Breakthrough. It's the only supplement with all 7 forms of magnesium to help you fall asleep faster, stay asleep longer, and wake up refreshed. Don't miss out on the most relaxing sleep ever with Magnesium Breakthrough. For an exclusive offer, go to bioptimizers.com/Dan and use promo code DAN during checkout to save 10%. And if you subscribe, not only will you get amazing discounts and free gifts, but you will also make sure your monthly supply is guaranteed.
Dan Le Batard.
I
Stugotz.
Every cup game.
And what?
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
The thing that we did not talk about that I am genuinely confused about this story, and I would want you guys to fill in some details for me on this, and we have not talked about it at all. The Commanders story that I saw, and God, the Commanders cannot do anything right. For a VP of content to shame the organization with a, what are you shaking your head about?
I mean, I think you need to give the details of the story before you start.
No, well, you're going to help me with the details of the story because I don't have all the details of the story because we haven't talked about this. But the part that stopped me and that was confusing is it's the first time that I have seen an NFL controversy, maybe there are others, where somebody is being secretly recorded while they seem to be on a date. And I just don't understand how any of that is okay. How I'm confused by the journalism of that. And I know that you can video people with and without their consent differently from state to state. But when I'm reading this story, and I'll get your thoughts on the details, and please tell the audience the things he said.
Right.
But when I read, this happened in July, and it was on the second date that the VP of content for the Commanders was on. I have not seen a controversy in the NFL that involves a VP of content giving us wonderful, terrible content, like by accident while being secretly recorded. But the journalism of this, how are you allowed to record someone secretly and then all of a sudden on a date? And on a date, I'm like, what is the backstory that I am missing here so that I have the context? And please, Amin, fill us in on what it is that he said, because I'm thinking that what he said was just some general stereotypes that a whole lot of people are probably going to think that are I don't know all of them, but a lot of people are going to nod their heads and say, well, yeah, I imagine that I could hit the NFL with some of those stereotypes. NFL players just make them all, big, dumb, and homophobic.
So the guy's name is Rael Enteen. He's the VP of content, as Dan has mentioned several times, for the Washington Commanders. He goes out on a date through Hinge, right? Links up with this woman who is secretly an undercover reporter for the O'Keefe Media Group. I'd be lying if I told you I've ever heard of him, right?
What is Hinge? I've never heard of Hinge.
Hinge is a dating app. Hinge is a dating app. So on the date, she records him saying, the general beats are, he called team players being anti-gay, accused Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones of being racist and anti-gay, and called NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell a $50 million puppet. Specifically, the quotes were...
That one's totally accurate. That one's totally accurate. He gets in no trouble except for Goodell, with Goodell on that one.
And just Google Jerry Jones' old photograph.
So the crazy thing is, nothing he said, I think, is like...
Is it nothing? Are you sure it's nothing? Because some of the stuff...
let me read the quotes. Quote, over 50% of our roster is white religious, and God says, F the gays. Their interpretation. I don't buy any of that.
Wait, this is a first date?
This second date.
I was going to say, this is an aggressive conversation.
Was that Second Timothy?
Hold on.
Or was that Acts?
Wait, what's the percentage?
He said 50% of our roster is white religious. Then he said another big chunk is low-income African Americans that come from a community that is inherently very homophobic.
This feels like fifth date.
He then also said some players are, quote, dumb as hell, and some who are smart don't stay that way after getting hit in the head too many times.
Actually, I haven't been in the dating scene, but from my friends, this kind of actually sounds like first date.
This guy sounds like he's real fun at parties.
He also said that those who, quote, get their heads knocked around a few times are more susceptible to conspiracy theories. All right, there's more. I don't think the commissioner of the NFL hates gay people, hates black people. Jerry Jones, who really runs the NFL, I think he hates gay people, hates black people. Then he said the social justice initiatives are performative. Quote, it's not done out of the goodness of their heart. It's done because George Floyd changed the game. It's to make as much money as possible. The NFL cares about the bottom line like any corporation above all else. They can prioritize DEI for the sake of good publicity. Then, wait, Dan, it gets better. He revealed that most of the fans are high school educated alcoholics. And called them mouth breathers. And
that's what's going to get him gone right there. The rest of the stuff isn't going to get him gone. That's what's going to get him gone. You can't say that about the customer.
This has
paying
me,
customers.
This just has me thinking what Stugotz would have been caught saying if he was single.
Well, for one, he said he was John Wenner.
The backup catcher for the World Series Marlins. Yes, he wore a World Series ring.
I'm happy Chris mentioned that because on dates, people say a lot of things. Come on.
Alcohol's flowing. You got a couple glasses of vino.
This is,
I was on a date.
That's my favorite part about this because all I'm thinking about is, dog, did you ask her about her life at all?
A lot of you.
Let's say, hey man, that's not a good date strategy.
This seems like it was a sting operation from the jump.
Of course it was, but
my boy should have known that.
And he bit it hook, line, and singer. He's just like, oh, you'd like to know all my info? Here you go. For second date, I don't really know you, but here you go. Here's everything.
Wow, this Merlot is strong.
I hear is a person who works sort of on the fringes of the NFL, trying to impress a date with how much he knows about the innards of the NFL.
Not only that, Dan, but the old, they hate gay people. Not me, though. Big supporter of pride over here.
That was.
What are your parents like?
What's your sign? That's first date. Second date is absolutely what Amin is saying there, which is. Let me take the moral high ground of seeing whether or not you can find me to be more upstanding than these cavemen I work with. Let me tell you, I'm the VP of content. There's some irony there that's kind of wonderful that right now, as the Commanders are waiting to start their season, the only one of the Commanders in the news is the VP of content for reasons he does not want to be in the news.
Is any of this surprising?
Yes, it's a date and it's an investigative report.
No, what he said.
Well, no, but what he said is only news because it's being said by someone that has those three letters, NFL, on the name. It's not an important person. He's not a famous person. And what he's saying is not that inflammatory. But put NFL on it, and you've just Times Squared it. Like, you've made it something that we need controversy. Look, man, this isn't bad for that league. Jerry Jones knows this better than anybody. Just get my league attention. Doesn't matter why you're talking about my league. Nothing is bad enough. A dead person is starting for the Bills. Well, a formerly dead person, excuse me. A person who was dead for a few minutes.
Did they get cloned?
Yeah. I think we should applaud the Commanders for not putting this in an email. They've learned. That's also true. They've learned.
Yeah, on the pie chart of blame, how high up is this reporter for doing something wholly unethical?
Well, can someone wait? So good question.
That's like if this dude loses his job for saying something that you've probably said in some kind of
who's
form.
You?
No, everybody. No. NFL fans have long. These are
I've
$50 million puppet.
I have
the royal you.
That I've said. Thank
Jerry
Jones.
Yeah, I've said that. I've said that. Mouth breather. Yeah, I've said that. Yeah, high school drunks. Yeah, I've said that. Okay, you know what? You got
4 out of 5.
Like John Gruden and Bruce Allen, I think, like they all lost their jobs, but they all did that like on their corporate email. This dude was taped against his knowledge.
This is okay. Before we go any further,
it'd be funny if it wasn't against his
not
knowledge.
in work. Like he's not in his office. You know, he's just having a conversation.
But I love the idea of her pulling out the camera and like, no, say that again. Like what? Which part? The part where they're alcoholic mouth breathers?
Just
Goodell's a puppet? I'd say it again. I'd say it a million times.
Like, especially considering what he said and how it was captured. If this dude is terminated, I'm just saying, he's got a wrongful termination lawsuit.
We're suspended.
I would like, before the end of the show, for you guys to get me some information on what happened here with the journalism of illegally or not illegally taping someone and the ethics of that. But before you go any further on this story, the part to me that is really great is she didn't get what she needed on the first date.
She had to do a second one.
You don't know that.
Well, no, I do know that. Unless there's something better that she is going to report soon, she had to fish it out of him on the second date. I have questions about how the first date went and how the first recording went, because I'm going to assume, should I not assume that the first date also had some recording, or you just try and butter him up with the first date so that you can get the good stuff, the juicy stuff on the second date?
I only crush you on the second date when it goes well. So, if it doesn't go well the first date, I'm not going to start ripping Dan yet, all right?
So where was the date at, right? Is it in Virginia? Was it in Washington?
Washington, D.C.
Oh, wow, because Virginia's laws is private conversations, illegal to record private conversations, even in a public place.
Yeah.
I'm going to check D.C.
Check D.C.
Yeah.
Also Google Watergate.
The fact, though, I want to sort of go through the labyrinth of how this investigation unspools. You go on the first date, and are you extra charming because the whole goal is to just get somebody to say these things that you want him to say for the controversy? Like, what is happening on the first date that lubricates him enough so that he's doing what he did on the second date?
Guys, the other part about this, I'm looking at the story here. They only had 2 dates, meaning after date 2, there was no.
But I guess what I'm asking you guys, is there the possibility that the first date goes so well that they just fall in love and this never happens?
That's a great movie plot. We should pitch that.
Yes.
Look, falling in love wasn't part of the plan, Dan.
It never is.
Or did it go so poorly that she then, the first date was so bad that she was like, I'm going to do the equivalent of journalistic revenge porn. I'm going to get him on the second date.
That's a great
Small J. This is real bad. Chris has been Googling what this entity is, and they have a history of apparently doing this, and they think that they're doing some kind of noble deed. They're reputable people that are pushing this stuff out there. There was, correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, but considering how this was captured, I'm really surprised that the New York Times is just putting it out there.
Well, I was less interested. I'm honestly saying this. I was less interested in what the controversy actually is than how it is we arrived at the controversy, because that seemed wildly unethical to me, but I don't have enough context. It's why I want you guys to get me somebody who can talk about what just happened here, because he will be fired for this.
No, he's been suspended. He's been suspended.
He's been suspended. He will be fired, and I'm not sure how legal or ethical the journalism was.
Smirnoff knows there's no I in football. It's a we thing, an experience best enjoyed together. Whether you're home or away, we rally together, we cry together, and we always rally cry together. Because in fandom, there's definitely no I. Smirnoff is the perfect vodka for crafting delicious cocktails that are easy to make and versatile for any fans over 21. As the world's #1 vodka and the official vodka partner of the NFL, Smirnoff brings an award-winning taste to every game day celebration. With a rich history dating back to 1864, Smirnoff is all about igniting the collective spirit. So when it's time to cheer on your favorite team, remember, we do game days with Smirnoff. Share the moment, share the spirit, and make every game day memorable. Drink responsibly. Smirnoff bringing fans together, one cocktail at a time. Grab a bottle of Smirnoff at your local retailer and head to Smirnoff.com to find recipes of delicious cocktails perfect for game day. Please drink responsibly. Smirnoff No. 21 Vodka, distilled from grain, 40% alcohol by volume. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. Please do not share with anyone under legal drinking age.
Dan Le Batard.
We got Afrini Hardaway.
Afrini? Who is Afrini Hardaway?
I was trying to read fast. UD was on the team. Luke Jackson. Bobby Jones. The Matrix, Shawn Marion.
Stugotz.
Zoe, Shaq, Smush Parker. Chris Quinn.
Wait a minute.
D. Wade.
Wait a minute.
Jason Williams, they're all right. I mean, stacked roster.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
I saw an interesting quote from Dak Prescott that I wanted to ask you guys about, because he was talking about Jerry Jones. And I was just wondering, as somebody who, I just had this conversation yesterday with Amin. I was talking to Amin about how I'm like, I don't feel like I'm a very good leader. I don't know how to lead. And he was telling me that it's funny because all he's been around in sports is a bunch of different people who lead. And he asked me the question, have you been led by anyone? Like, do you know how to lead? And I'm like, No, I don't know how to do it. So Jerry Jones leads the Cowboys, and he's led them into a sewer since Jimmy Johnson left. Like, they don't win very much. They're famous and interesting, and the star on the helmet is redundant, but the team's not been terribly excellent. And
weren't you led by Michael Keaton in Spotlight?
Yeah.
That guy seemed like a good leader.
Yeah.
Marty Barron, the former executive editor of the Miami Herald, was a good leader, had no interactions with him. Like, he led the paper well, but I didn't know him very well, and so like there was separation. The sports department wasn't where they were paying attention.
What about Greg? Did Greg lead you?
Greg Cody?
Yeah, mentor.
Not a good,
Greg?
Not a good start.
Pope?
I mean, led me.
leaders.
I guess he influenced me. He
I
didn't.
did to the nearest bar.
He didn't. Led me toward 12 beers.
Dollaritas.
I think at this point you can only lead yourself.
Wow.
Like that's
deep.
what I'm doing
It's
right now.
very profound.
But I need to lead others. We've got 45 employees, and so
45.
Yeah, it's a
You
lot.
just hire some more people?
Well, that's
a good number.
That's the solution to everybody. That's the solution to everything is hire more people.
Not as good as 47.
Dak Prescott said of Jerry Jones, who fancies himself the leader of the Cowboys, and it's a fairly ridiculous leader of the Cowboys in that no other owner is doing that peacocking show on the sidelines and giving press conferences and doing all of that while not winning and consistently saying things to make headlines because, as I told you before, he doesn't care about the headlines. He understands better than anyone that it doesn't matter if you're racist as long as you're the power in the circus. Like, just bring him into the tent, and you can get caught in all sorts of scandals off the field, and it doesn't matter whether it's your team or whether it's you. You're going to get away with everything because you're the power in that league. Dak Prescott said of his boss and the leader of that team, quote, "I mostly stopped listening to things he said to the media a long time ago. It doesn't hold weight with me." And the question I wanted to ask you guys about leadership is when the owner of the team is saying things in public that reporters are always asking the quarterback about, and those things can be insulting or lower his value or be about how he's not as worth as much as he thinks he is, how would you feel as an employee? Would you be able to do what Dak Prescott is doing in his position if your boss was perpetually in public saying things about you and you as the quarterback had to prevent those headlines because you don't want to welcome into your huddle the way that you're arguing over money? Would you be able to do what Dak Prescott is doing when he says, "I just don't pay any attention to that stuff. It's all professional wrestling. Jerry Jones does whatever he wants to do"?
That's a great question. Chris, what do you think?
You got this.
You see what we did there, Dan?
Why'd you do that?
Pass the ball.
Because the whole thing is like, would you be able to do your job if people told you were always incompetent and you suck at your job in a very public forum? Wow. And I was like, oh.
What a stray.
You just opened my eyes. Thank you for that.
Well, I'm just saying, what now? Now what?
Oh, wow.
Penalty, 5 minutes, ruining comedy.
Ruining comedy. It was a perfect joke. It was a perfect joke.
It was a give and go.
Who is getting
Is
penalized?
this a double minor?
It's a major.
It's a major. He said it was a major.
It's one major, and it's for Amin.
Yeah. That's the right call. Good VAR.
Man, good job, Stripes.
No. I do this under protest.
Okay.
Whoa.
What do you mean, no?
Everyone's saying good call in the
protesting.
stands. Even the opposing fans are like, yeah, they got us.
Don't get him misconduct now.
I kind of feel like I got away with one there, though. Because I didn't really help Amin.
I mean, I was confused by
back
it,
a
dude.
dead
I was confused. I was confused. I didn't know where to go.
That wasn't a dead fish.
It was a good call. It was a good
He
call.
threw back. Yeah, like, it's like, hey, what do you think? I'm like,
call.
well, I'm not the one that they call incompetent, but I guess I am now because Dan just gave me a 5-minute major and I'm not left yet. So, yeah, under protest.
Okay, duly noted. You strenuously object.
Your
I got
protest has been recorded and documented.
We'll put it in the file.
Take it up with the league.
Chris Cody, can you give me, please, and thank you for allowing me to have that that preamble that was way too long, and then the answer got no good answer from anybody except the joke that ruined comedy. Appreciate it. Like
I don't want to call Dak a liar. I mean, it's pretty unavoidable, especially the way that he's covered. He just doesn't walk by a television. They talk. If you walk past ESPN1 at this time, there is like a 15% chance they're talking about you. And if the TVs are on NFL Network, there is also like a 10% chance that they're talking about you. Maybe it's gotten a little bit better now that Skip Bayless doesn't have a place to speak into to an audience. But I don't necessarily. I think being skeptical. What else is he going to say?
You wouldn't like it, Mike.
No, I wouldn't.
None of us would.
No, I don't want to work for Jerry Jones. It seems very difficult. And at that position for the marquee franchise in the league, it's very difficult. But what else is he going to say? He has to say that.
He should have given the Minshew quote. Been like, Van Gogh only had one ear. I'm only listening to one side of the noise. That's it.
Tony,
I'm not worried about that.
Tony, great call, because that's a badass response.
The part, though, that to me, and I don't know whether you guys absorb this or care about this, we made a musical for those of you who are watching us on Peacock, and it was something that we were very proud of. And one of the themes of the musical that we believe was better than that musical, made at far less cost than the Mannings just made, is the idea that there is nothing that can stop what tonight and what Sunday are. And the reason Jerry Jones has the power that he does with a franchise that, if you look at their record, my guess is that if you look since Jimmy Johnson left, you can surprise me with a couple of franchises that are largely irrelevant that have won more than the Cowboys have and have certainly won more playoff games than the Cowboys have. And the magic of Jerry Jones's power is he's got the most valuable team in the NFL. They're usually not Super Bowl good. They're usually not a playoff winner. And it doesn't matter because he knows it's the circus. And it doesn't matter if you have foul odors at the circus. It doesn't matter if you have elephant shit at the circus. The circus is the biggest entertainment there is anywhere around money. Consistently, and he sits atop it, and he doesn't even have to win to do it. It's smoke and mirrors. Like that star on that helmet remains shiny because of the reputation from 30 years ago, and because he keeps it alive with his mouth, and because he keeps going to the sideline, and he thinks he's the reason it's that valuable. And soon he will have a 10-part documentary on Netflix to celebrate how much he hasn't won the last 30 years.
You say that he's not winning. He's definitely winning. He's just not winning on the field in profound ways. But he is winning. In business, that dude won damn near better than any other owner in professional sports. He is the crown jewel of the biggest thing in this country.
Don't you guys think it's fascinating, though, that it doesn't even have to win or be excellent to be that? That Jerry Jones's thing, that the parts are all interchangeable. It doesn't matter whether Dak Prescott is their quarterback or Tony Romo is their quarterback. The Dallas Cowboys quarterback is going to be famous if they win 9 games.
Yeah, but there are marquee franchises in the NFL that fall by the wayside, that had their day, and because they got stopped talking about when the success stopped. We don't stop talking about the Dallas Cowboys ever, and it's in large part due to the guy up top, Jerry Jones. So I do think that he has a huge hand in how the league has been so successful, because under his shadow leadership, it's exponentially grown. When he arrived, it was already one of the biggest things.
You do understand, though, that the way that he does that business while doing that do-si-do thing he did in front of the American flag while a Commander's VP of content says that he's a racist.
And anti-gay.
You do realize that that person has made evident to all of us for many years that the coach doesn't matter, like in terms of how he sees the importance of the coach. And in this instance, he's telling us that the quarterback's feelings don't matter either, because that leader is telling you he is the boss at all times because he's the money. I just can't believe he gets to stay that when they never win important games. Like, I thought you had to win some important games in 30 years. Like, go ahead and give them to me. I'll wait. America's most famous team, most powerful team, most money team. I'll wait. I give you 3 decades. Give me all the games you remember that the Cowboys won in the playoffs, because the one I remember is Tony Romo couldn't hold an extra point when he was the holder on an extra point and they lost to Seattle. They've won a couple of memorable games, but not many.
The last time they won a playoff game, what I'm looking at here, was the 1995 Super Bowl. That was the last playoff game they've won.
No, that can't be. That can't be right. Dak's got two playoff. Dak has one or two playoff victories.
I think they won one last season.
I mean, past the divisional playoffs. My bad.
Oh yeah.
Okay, hold on.
They've lost in the division.
Wait
a minute. I was doing research.
We've got a major penalty, 5 minutes, derailing.
Yeah.
5 minutes.
12 games of 9-7.
You looked it up and you came to me with 0 playoff
No,
wins.
I was looking up something else, but
Get out.
12 games, 8-8 or under.
Just keep talking as you go.
I'm going to turn it off.
Out. Just get out.
I like that Dan is trying to shame a dude that was photographed with his pants down.
I stand with you, Tony.
You guys know what we got coming up next segment? We're going out to Kansas City.
No way.
Check in with Stugotz and Billy Gill.
Whoa. They are there in the middle of a city that once booed unity.
And we are marveling. We're going to laugh next segment. We have pictures of Stugotz next to Golick Sr. I mean, Jesus.
This is funny because I heard in the other room they were all saying, how does Golick Sr. look so much better and healthier than Stugotz?
It's wild.
Here's a hint. Being healthy.
Not 2 packs a day.
Is that the reason? Because Golick is looking better and better every day, and Stugotz is looking worse and worse every day. So he's celebrating football season with yellow fingers smelling of nicotine, and once again, he hasn't bothered to shave while wearing a shirt pulled from the trunk of his car.
Howdy, folks. It is Mike Ryan, and over the course of our 20 years together, there have been a lot of changes. A lot of changes to the show, a lot of changes to my body, a lot of changes to you and your listening habits. But one thing that hasn't changed is the undebatable great taste of Miller Lite. Another thing that hasn't changed? It's less filling. So what is the best thing about the original light beer? Miller Lite sparked this debate way back in 1975, and we still haven't settled it. You can understand why the debate rages on. Great taste versus less filling. But why not have both? That's what Miller Lite presents in that beautiful white can. A light beer that actually tastes like beer. You don't have to choose what's best. Miller Lite has great taste and is less filling. Tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, visit MillerLite.com/Dan, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces. Fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beer.
Now's a good time to remember where the story of tequila started. In 1795, the first tequila distillery was opened by the Cuervo family. And 229 years later, Cuervo is still going strong. Family owned from the start. Same family, same land. Now's a good time to enjoy Cuervo, the tequila that invented tequila. Go to Cuervo.com to shop tequila or visit a store near you. Cuervo, now's a good time. Trademarks owned by Becle, SAB, the CV. Copyright 2024. Proximo. Jersey City, New Jersey. Please drink responsibly.